welcome to Travel Bits. I am your host, Bonnie Quartermanch of Bonnie's Travel, a home-based travel agency here in Seekonk. We are now on our third segment of Adam and Krystal's amazing 14-day trip to China, Japan, and South Korea. Again, I'd like to thank my guests, Krystal and Adam, for joining me and sharing their experiences of their vacation. It's been a wonderful series so far, and this is the best one coming up now because this show is focused mainly on their actual experiences in the different countries. We're going to start off with Beijing, China, and what we're going to do is they've provided a lot of their photos. So we're going to put those up on the screen, and then I'm going to let them talk about the pictures and share what they would like. So let's start with the first one.
So that is the Sunworld Dynasty Hotel in Beijing. This is the hotel we actually booked. So Beijing's stop was 3 days long. So we did, instead of kind of going back and forth to the ship, we thought it would be a smarter idea. Oh, well, we'll just book a hotel for 2 nights.
Oh,
and
okay.
So that way we have a little bit more time while we're in Beijing. And this is the hotel that we stayed at. The hotel is actually located pretty close to kind of like, I don't know if it's the main shopping district in Beijing, but like there was like a mall and a bunch of like high-end shops and everything that was literally like right around the corner within walking distance.
Great.
I know we were also within walking distance to like Tiananmen Square, the Forbidden City. It ended up being like the perfect location.
Great.
It really was.
Great.
Yeah. Speaking of the Forbidden City,
Okay.
This is actually the front gate to the Forbidden City.
Okay.
This we did on our first day, and actually I don't know how you do it, but we found it by accident.
Okay.
We had actually just kind of we had dropped everything at the hotel, and we're basically like, oh, let's just go out and let's just find something to do. And we maybe walked for about 15 minutes and
Ta-da.
to the Forbidden City.
There you go.
And the only thing that happened here that was interesting to me was like maybe about, I would say 100 yards from the Forbidden City, they actually stop every single person walking in that direction, and you have to show them some form of identification.
Okay.
So we actually had to show them our passports. Which was one thing I didn't realize is like, when you're in China, keep your passport on you.
Okay.
At all times. Oh, and that's Tiananmen Square.
Okay.
So Tiananmen Square is actually right across the street from the Forbidden City.
Okay.
Which is something I didn't know.
There's an underpass that you can go under. So on one side is the Forbidden City, and then there's a nice underpass. And I think we found it by accident too. We're like, where's everybody going? So we were not prepared for this at all. We ended up going and taking a lot of pictures, and it was a beautiful day, as you can tell. It was clear. It was warm but windy, so it was a really nice fall day. And we got some really great pictures from
Now,
it.
is this a monument or a museum or both? A little bit of both?
A little bit of both. I think in that picture, if you go, there's to the left and the right, there are 2 other buildings, and I think one of them is like a museum or something.
Okay.
But we didn't venture into either one of those buildings, but because the Forbidden City is very large.
Okay.
It's a lot of walking.
Okay.
That is in the Forbidden City. In order to get into the Forbidden City, also, if you're a foreigner, yet another reason that you need your passport, they attach your ticket to your passport.
Oh, okay.
So your passport number becomes the ticket, and you have to like, it's weird because they actually have I'm gonna call it the foreigner booth. The foreigner booth is actually like kind of tucked away to the side, to the right, before you're allowed into the Forbidden City. But once you get in there, it's just like, it's this great realization that everything is so beautiful, and everything that is sitting there is like older than like our country has even been
else,
around.
you know.
Like it's insane how detail oriented, how gorgeous, how just honestly, to be honest, how much money was probably spent putting that thing together, because it is astounding. There's throne rooms all over.
I don't think we stopped walking for an hour or so through it, and we only went through the main center, but there were other areas that you could have ventured off into the side. I mean, it literally is blocks and blocks long. We just decided to go down the center. We figured that would be the best route for us. Thank goodness, because we could have been there for like 4 days without realizing it. It is massive. When you look at it, there's just, you don't know how you're gonna get through it.
Yeah, and I think there's a few more pictures, There are a few more pictures too that we took within the Forbidden City just to really like capture the detail.
Yeah.
Like that
And the
ceiling.
colors.
Yes.
The colors are amazing too. It's just
Exactly.
like that was literally a door, and I even walked by the door and I was like, oh, this is just a beautiful door. Like it's just the ceiling is gorgeous and detail oriented. It's so vibrant too. Like even the pictures don't capture the true beauty of it all. Again, the Forbidden City. This is one of the statues. That is, so once you walk through the Forbidden City, you get to the back, and right across the street, again, from the Forbidden City, there's actually, I think it's called Jingson Park.
You would know better than me.
But we basically looked at the park and we're like, oh, well, let's just climb to the top of there. Like, why not?
Another mountain to walk up, no big deal. We could do it.
And that is the temple. It's one of the temples at the top of the mountain. And we just so happened to catch it at sunset.
At sunset. Wow, it's all about timing.
Yeah.
We
We lucked out a lot. We lucked out a lot on this trip.
Yeah.
for sure.
Great.
Oh,
Now,
one of the-
I know what
yes.
that is. That's
Yes.
the Olympics, right?
Yes.
Yes,
They
so-
call that the bird's nest? or-
Yep.
yes, Bonnie.
Which was something that I was actually really excited to go to. I am obsessed with the Olympics.
I am as well, yes.
I've seen the Montreal Stadium, but this one I was super excited to see because I was actually alive when this Olympics happened. And this was one of the few places that I looked at Krystal and I was like, we're going to the Olympic Village. Like, there's not a question.
Yeah.
There was no way I could talk him out of it, even though we were probably exhausted, freezing, hungry, all of the above at this point.
This is like yards and yards and yards. This is so far from the actual bird's nest. The actual stadium is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even put it into words. And so if you want, you can also do this experience inside of the bird's nest where I think it's like $43 or something, but you actually get to kind of relive the opening ceremonies.
Oh, nice, yeah.
We didn't have an opportunity to do that because we were there very late at night. But yeah, no, the entire Olympic Village is gorgeous. And they light it up exactly how it was during the Olympics, just to give you some scale too.
Is that like some of the luges? It's kind of what it looks like, the bobsledding and...
I don't know.
Isn't that what that looks like? That's
I
what
don't
it looks like to me. It's
I don't
probably
know
not.
yet. I don't know if they're. I know that they're also doing the Winter Olympics in 2022.
Okay.
And they're repurposing the bird's nest. I don't know what they're repurposing it with though.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
So this is the second day in Beijing. As you can tell, this is the Great Wall of China.
Wow.
We went through Viator.
Okay, yeah.
And each of us paid like $20. And all that we really wanted, we didn't want like a guided tour
Right.
through the Great Wall, where they kind of just stick with you. We wanted to kind of just freely explore it on our own.
Mm-hmm.
So what the $20 got us was literally just a van that like picked us up at our hotel, and which was great. Like it picked us up at our hotel, so we didn't have to go looking for it because I know that was an issue that we had come across in doing some research. Was like a lot of buses would pick you up, but you had to meet them.
You have to find them.
You had to find them. So we were both very disheartened to try and even navigate our way into that city because it is very huge and sprawling. But the Great Wall of China, there's nothing like it. There's truly nothing like it in the world. When I say that spreads for miles and miles and miles, we could not see the end of it.
Wow.
And it just keeps going.
Yeah, we had a really great experience. We met some friends along the way.
Mm-hmm.
We felt, everybody says that after you have jello legs, and literally we walked maybe 2 hours one way and then 2 hours back, and going downwards, your legs start to shake. Oh, there are friends. You see them?
There's Indy and Nikki.
Indy and Nikki, they actually were doing a tour of all of East Asia. They just went back home, so they were there for 9 months.
Wow.
They were in Japan, they got engaged in Japan, and then we met randomly. They were on our Viator bus, and we hung out with them our entire day on the wall. And they hiked with us. They took pictures with us. They were like our best friends for that.
I see that you dressed a little bit more warmly.
Yes,
It wasn't
was
a little on the cool
so
side.
it was early, so it was frigid.
Okay.
But as you started climbing, the sun started climbing. You were getting hot. Everybody started with a lot of layers. Everybody finished with a lot of no layers, I guess you could say. All the layers were basically stripped off. Everything was taken off, and we kind of just had it wrapped around us. But it was cold in the morning, very cold. Oh.
Oh dear.
Those look like scorpions.
Yes.
Yep, those are. So one of the things that I had casually mentioned to Krystal before we went on this trip, I go, oh, well, there's like, China is known for some night markets. And I was like, and you can get some, let's call them delicacies. You can get some very interesting delicacies while you're at these night markets. And I remember sending her a link, and it showed the various things that were offered to you, like scorpions, tarantulas, pupa.
There was a picture that looked like it was tails or something.
Oh, octopus tentacles.
Yes.
Yep.
There was also seahorses, and there were
Starfish.
I mean, there was tarantulas. It was endless. So one of my things for this trip, I said, the one thing that's going to happen is I'm going to eat a tarantula. That was my goal for the entire trip. That was the only thing I really wanted across my bucket list. Obviously, then the Great Wall and a few other things. So we went to the night market, and of course, we're walking around. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. And I bought some scorpions and ate those first. And it was really crunchy, and in the video I said tastes like fried chicken. There it is. Ugh. It was greasy, and they put a lot of spices on it. And then I bought more so that all my friends could enjoy. So Adam had some, and Indy and Nikki did too, with some.
Indy and Nikki gave into peer pressure.
They did, but we all had it, and then we ended up just falling into a group.
Oh, yay.
So we ended up falling into a group of individuals that were eating lizards and stuff, and we bought a tarantula, and we started eating it. So here's Adam having a leg. It's fuzzy. It's furry.
It's really crunchy. So I'll tell you, they fry all of this stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you think like I do, there's nothing bad fried.
Right. Except.
Honestly, so, I mean, my face says something different. Honestly, now I look back on it, I don't really think it tasted that badly. I think I was more weirded out because
Right. It's a spider.
The hairs are still on it.
It's a tarantula. Oh yeah, there's the food.
But yeah, they had everything there.
Oh,
and
I ate
it's
a duck
just,
too. I had a bit ahead of the bug.
You did eat a
It wasn't
duck.
good. I just wanted to have the experience of it. I said, there's no way I'm gonna get back on this boat and not have one of these strange looking things. So I picked the lesser of the the lesser of the three evils, I guess you could say, which was a tarantula, a scorpion, or multiple scorpions, and a duck. I think it was a duck anyway. It could have been something else.
But it was so interesting one of the more memorable moments for me on this trip was in the night market.
Okay.
When we did go and we're looking to get a tarantula, it was originally just me, Krystal, Indy, Nikki looking at the tarantula, and Krystal was like, I want to try it, but they were 50 yuan, which compared to the scorpions, which were like 10 yuan for 3, it was a little pricier.
Especially, I knew I wasn't gonna eat the whole thing. So,
Yeah, we had no intention of eating the whole thing, so we kind of knew the money was just gonna basically be waste.
Yeah.
But we came across that group, and
from our
Krystal
boat.
was the slick one, talked her into. She said, if you buy the tarantula, we'll all eat it. And what happened? But the funny thing about that was it kind of turned into this funny thing where their group, our group, we all just kind of gathered into a circle and we just started cheering and chanting for each other and just
It was obnoxious, and it was the greatest thing that we could have ever
That's
done.
spontaneous, yeah.
But it was so much
the best
fun.
experience, yeah. It was so much fun. It was
Great.
fun.
Yeah, no, that night market is a hoot. And then on our last day in Beijing, which would be our last day in China, I I have a deep love for pandas.
Deep.
So I said before I leave China, I need to see
A panda.
a real life panda. So we went to the Beijing Zoo. We had to check out of our room by 11 a.m. And I forced her to get up at 8 with me to take the train to the Beijing Zoo, which opened for like 9. Literally bought tickets, ran to the panda exhibit just to get some cute pictures of pandas.
Yes.
They also had panda cafes. They had a panda gift shop. I bought many things.
Yes, yes, you did. All the panda things.
All the
and
panda
then
things.
we had to run back to the hotel after.
Yeah, but the interesting part about the last day in Beijing, everyone talks about how like, oh, well, why is everyone always wearing face masks? The first 2 days we were in Beijing, the air quality is something that's reported on like the weather. Mm-hmm. So like you open your app, like your weather app, and it actually says like air quality, good, poor, it'll tell you. So on our last day, it was the only day that it came in where it was like air quality poor. And so luckily she had brought face masks before we had left. And it was only on the last day that we were like, oh, we got to break out the face masks. And going out, there's a visible difference.
Wow.
You could feel it.
Like you can
Feel
feel
it on
it.
your skin too.
Oh, yeah.
It's strange. I
Yeah.
think that's why my skin also has fun.
But like
it's a weird.
it was like coming back, you had like a layer, like you could feel it. It was like an extra layer of skin.
Wow.
And that was like and it's shocking because it's the first time I've ever been anywhere that's kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So one of our other stops was Jeju Island in South Korea. Personally, one of my favorite stops. So when we actually ported in Jeju Island, what was fantastic is the locals had actually set up kind of like a welcome party. Mm-hmm. So they had, traditional drummers there, which clearly I took some pictures with them. But the costuming is it's bright, it's colorful, it's made for movement. It was just like a great welcome into Jeju Island. So, sorry. So the bus that we actually had to take a bus from port to like the main Jeju city.
Okay.
Like we did for a lot of our stops. But this is actually a government building.
Wow. Beautiful.
So it's an old, not in commit, like they don't use it anymore as a government building, but like it's an old-fashioned government building.
Yeah.
And it's what was interesting to me about this was that it's so detail-oriented again. It's this real attention to detail. It's been there for, I think that one hasn't been around for super long because I think if I remember reading correctly, it burned down at one point. But they spent all that money to rebuild it and make it look, as close to the original as possible. Mm-hmm. Again, that government building. What shocked me about this too is like kind of how our city halls are like very tight, like compact. This was kind of just like a college campus where it's just very open. It was a walk, to get from one side to the other. While we were in Jeju Island is actually known for something called black pork. And it's not any way that they marinate it. It's literally the pig itself. The skin color is black. So they have one street on Jeju Island. It's actually called Black Pork Street.
Black pork, okay.
Mm-hmm. And on this street is just Korean barbecue everywhere.
Wow.
It's everywhere. And so when we walked down the street, because it was one of the things that I really wanted to try was I wanted like authentic Korean barbecue. So we walked down the street. We basically looked into all the restaurants and tried to figure out which one had the most locals in it. And we picked that one.
Good.
And it was interesting to me. So I've been to Korean barbecue before. I've been to Korean barbecue in Los Angeles. I know that we actually have one here in Rhode Island. I think it's in Johnston. But in the States, like we always cook things on like stainless steel or like a grill. With this video, you actually see they cooked it on cast iron.
Oh.
Which made me feel like made it even more delicious. That's soju. We had soju too.
Tastes
but
like rubbing alcohol.
what's great about Korean barbecue is those little lettuce wraps. What you do with them is you kind of make your own little. I mean, I want to call it like a Korean, like a little veggie taco kind
Okay.
of.
Definitely
So
taco.
they cook all the meat. You can heat kimchi up on the grill. You can heat whatever you want up on the grill. And so basically you do is you take lettuce leaf, you put in the meat, you put in all of those little sides. You just get to pick and choose what you wanted. So for me, what I did was I had the lettuce leaf. I did pickled lotus root. I did black pork belly. A little chili paste, some kimchi. It's honestly the most delicious thing I've ever eaten
So
in my
it's like
life.
a Korean fajita.
Kind of, yeah. But
That's what I would call it.
It was so delicious.
Okay.
And that entire lunch, I could eat every day for the rest of my life.
Kyoto. So this one was one of my favorites that we went to was Kyoto, Japan. Oh, you could talk about. Or Gentle Fox.
So Gentle Fox, it was another hotel. So Kyoto was another overnighter for us. Technically, the stop was billed to us as Kobe, Japan,
Okay.
which is kind of along the south coast. And Kyoto is more north central of Japan, but neither one of us were super interested in Kobe. Because as far as we knew, they were known for like Kobe beef.
Okay.
But we really, really, really wanted to go to Kyoto as it's the old capital of Japan. So again, we booked a hotel because we wanted to, maximize the amount of time that we had there. And while we were there, we kind of did what we did in Beijing on the first day, which was we didn't really have any plan. We just kind of went out, walked around, and kind of tried to live like a local for a little bit.
We wandered a lot.
We did wander a lot. But
We ate a lot.
That was where we had dinner. We had dumplings for dinner
Dumplings,
that day.
yeah.
Soup dumplings.
But that shop was actually in the picture beforehand. That was one of the many, many restaurants. When I tell you that there is an endless supply of food that exists in Japan.
Wow.
And you can have countless numbers of dishes within seconds. Like it's just restaurant after restaurant after restaurant, and it's
all delicious.
it is all delicious.
Oh.
You can talk about that one.
So one of the nights we went into town and we wanted to go to a spot that was hip and trending, but I think we missed the call and we were there a little bit too late and we came up to it and I just looked at Adam. I'm like, I don't think this is hip. I don't think this is happening. And we just stood there cracking up because from online when you're looking, you're like, wow, we have to go there. And then this is what happened.
Yeah.
But it turned out, I'm like, let's just venture. And we ended up finding like a karaoke bar and singing and just having so much fun, catching the train back and then going about our travels. So it turned out not being a loss. It turned out what? We got diverted. It's okay, but we ended up making it a great night.
So you made
anyway.
lemonade.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
that's
did.
exactly what we
Yes,
did.
we did, definitely. And go ahead.
So this is the second day in the morning after a fun night out of singing karaoke and partaking in some adult beverages. And being out until maybe like 3 a.m.
Wow.
I forced Krystal to get up at 5 a.m. because I wanted
That's a lot.
So this is the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto. It's most well known for the gates because basically behind the actual shrine is Mount Inari, and every single path is lined with gates.
Wow.
It's amazing.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. But I wanted to get up at 5 a.m. because in the morning, you don't really have to deal with tourists as much because they're sleeping like normal people should be. But the addition of it was we wanted to watch the sunrise, climb the mountain and watch the sunrise over Kyoto.
Each shrine had dragons on it. Those are some of the gates that are going through. They had foxes everywhere. So it was just really beautiful to walk through. You could tell some of the locals walk that path every day. So a lady who was probably half my size was just beating us up the mountain so quickly. I'm like, she has to do this every day. I'm like, I'm not in that bad of shape to not make it up. So it was just a beautiful experience, and hearing just dawn breaking, the the birds. We ran into just random people, animals. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was one of those like serene moments that you have. This was one of the overlooks that we found. So we got to the top, right? We were at the top of the mountain, and this is what you can see. And that was one of the, oh, okay, Adam, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and climb a mountain with you. Okay.
worth it.
I'm like, okay, you won some brownie points there. I'm not a morning person, but this was gorgeous. And at this moment, you're in awe. You're just like, wow. It was like almost like the Great Wall all over again.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. You talk about that.
Oh, and then, so after we did get back down the mountain, what we did was you can actually pay, it's like 100 yen, which is like $1. You basically write a wish on one of those sticks.
Okay.
And I guess you just kind of hope it comes true.
There's a priest that's there. There's a blessing that's done. So we wrote a wish on a stick, and many people had done it. And then they actually place it. They were hanging them. They were putting them somewhere. And we saw others, and I'm like, let's do it. There's no way we can't put our wish up in Kyoto. So that was a great experience, too.
Well,
How tired we
your
are.
pictures were wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Beijing and Jeju Island in Korea and Japan. So, wow. Wow. I want to thank Adam and Krystal for sharing their experiences in these locations. It does sound fabulous. I would like to thank you for joining us, and let me know what you think. If you're enjoying the series, it looks like we're going to have a bonus 4th series because there's still so much more to talk about. So please come back and visit us for the bonus segment for the few other stops. Again, this is Travel Bits. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.